on another successful night. What do you think of all three events here in Texas? And what do you think of all the turnout from the fans coming out to support PFL?
Yeah, no, I thought it was great. Big shout out to Texas. We'll definitely be back in Texas because I think this venue in itself is truly amazing. So in terms of the three first rounds, it was I couldn't ask for a better show.
What do you think of Ray and Carlos's fight? Would that give Clay's and Jeremy's a run for their money?
Well, I thought Carlos showed up and did his thing, and but it just goes to show how tough Ray is. I mean, he just wore it and kept coming. You know what I mean? And so, talking to him and his team, there's a couple of things that didn't go right in training, but no excuses. It is what it is, and I'm sure we'll see the Ray that we are used to in second round, but. Again, my hat off to Carlos. I thought he did a great job.
And as for me, what did you think of your stars, Rory, Anthony Pettis' performance, and Caleb?
Yeah, no, you know what? I think Anthony said it right in one of the interviews that when he came here from the UFC, he just thought he was going to walk in and do his thing. And he said that thanks to the guys that he did fight and lost to, that it made him work harder. And we just saw a different guy, in the cage tonight. He was a lot sharper. And he just looked great. And so I think, sometimes you got to take a step back to take 4 steps forward. You know what I mean? And I think that's what happened with him. And Rory, of course, he won one last year, lost one. But again, he's another one that he looked great too. You know what I mean? And it's finally working for them because. Again, getting used to the system, to the format where they to get to the championship, you got to fight back to back. And so I think they understand it better now. And again, I was really happy for them.
Ray, what do you think in the past, you're in the gym with Jenna, what do you think in the past year has clicked in her mind to make her have a performance like she did tonight?
Yeah, no, Jenna, with Jenna, I know she has all the skills, she has that talent, and sometimes I think she has to hit a brick wall for it to come out, right? And of course, I think the brick wall for her was struggling to try and make the weight. And of course, then she had to come out. And what I said to her is, well, now you got to go out and you got to do your thing, right? Because you don't want people talking about you missing weight. You want them talking about you winning. And I thought she did great tonight.
Right, congratulations on another great event. For me personally, I think it was one of the best cards of PFL. We have AJ a few minutes here, and he was talking about that he's more than happy and available to do a PFL versus Bellator team in the future. Right. Is this something that intrigues you all, or you'll be more than happy to do, knowing the Kayla situation and having people like AJ here?
Right. Yeah, no, listen, Scott Coker is a friend of mine. I've known Scott Coker for over 25, maybe 30 years now. And, Scott's done events with Ryzen and whatnot. And so for us, I think it's a matter of making it work for Bellator and for PFL. And then I don't see why that couldn't happen. But it's just, it would have just taken us to sit down and, and discuss how we would go about doing that. And so hopefully that's, in the near future.
Knowing how big is getting PFL now, is there any ideas of going into the Latin community or bringing more Latin fighters or expanding that area? Yeah,
the Challenger Series has been a really good avenue for us or vehicle, should I say, because, for example, Carlos Leal came through the Challenger Series, and he won his first Challenger Series by a flying knee, won the bonus in that event, and we brought him back the second time, and he won that again. So, and again, look at what he did tonight, you know what I mean? And so, 100%, we're gonna go worldwide. For us, the PFL is, I think in terms of countries, I think we're in about 160 countries around the world now. And so there's some great news coming real soon in regards to the playoffs and whatnot. And so look forward to that. But yeah, we're definitely expanding.
Thank you.
Ray, you mentioned earlier a little bit about Carlos and his journey in the Challenger Series. He had to win 2 fights just to get to this moment.
Right.
Obviously beats a defending champion. What does that say in terms of how important the Challenger Series is for the PFL and where it's headed?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Obviously, the challenge is really important because it allows us to vet fighters. It allows us to see, guys who can make it into the season, and also allows us to find young talent that we can build. You know what I mean? And so, absolutely, the Challenger Series is definitely a must. And I think, being that it was our first year this year, I think it was a success.
Ray, how open are you to, we've heard in the past you said you're open to cross-promoting with Bellator and making matchups like Kayla and Cyborg.
Right.
How open are you to doing a card like that, bringing on AJ, and how feasible is that to happen this year or next?
100% is not going to be this year. That being said, yeah, no, we're very open. Like I said, Scott Coker is a good friend of mine. I've known him for about 30 years. I think it's just a matter of sitting down with his team and our team and, work out whatever needs to be worked out. But it has to be right, again, like I said, it has to be right for Bellator and for us. And then again, I don't see why that couldn't happen. You know what I mean?
What are the biggest hurdles that would get in the way of that happening?
I don't see any hurdles, and I think we won't know if there is hurdles until we sit down and chat, right? And so I don't see, like I said, Scott Coker and I just talked last week. I mean, we were just texting back and forth as friends. We weren't talking business or anything else like that, but I just wished them congratulations because they had a really good, successful event prior to the Hawaii show as well as the Hawaii show. So, yeah, like I said, I don't see any obstacles in terms of sitting down and chatting, but you don't know until we do that, right?
Fair enough, thank you.
Right. Any updates on Magomed? Is he going to be in the PFL tournament at all?
Yeah, Magomed's issue is his visa, his P1 visa. Obviously, with this terrible war going on, that's kind of what actually, caused problems for a lot of these guys for visas and whatnot, and not just from out of Russia, but I mean pretty much some of the fighters that we try to get from Australia was also a problem. But I think it's just one of those things where it's just timing, and I see Margaret being in the second round of the regular season.
Okay, and my last question for me. Anthony Pettis looked great tonight. He seemed
Right.
really motivated and wants to avenge those losses.
Right.
Is that anything that interests you to run those back for Anthony? Either Clay Collard or House?
I mean, there'll still be great fights. Yeah, no, 100%. I got to sit down with my, matchmaking team and figure out exactly what works, and we'll go from there.
Thank you, Ray.
Is there anyone in line with the Contender Series? Is there anyone in Texas that you guys have found or have an eye on that you think you're going to want to invite in the near future?
In Texas,
Yes, like out of Texas or DFW.
I don't think we actually had because the actual Challenger Series was held in Orlando, but I don't think we had a fighter out of Texas. I could be wrong, but I think if it did, I think it would stand. I would remember. But without a doubt, there is fighters. Some good talent out of Texas. It's just a matter of us, fighting them from being young talent, or whoever becomes a free agent.
Hey Ray, congrats on another great card. And obviously PFL is unique for doing the regular season, the playoff, which is great. And obviously there's some challenges that come with that. So one of the big things going around was just how Ray Cooper -1 for the weight miss, and
Right.
it kind of gets -1 either way.
Right.
Some people were wondering if it was worth someone like that fighting and potentially taking some damage tonight. Is that something that you worry about at all with the way the system's set up, or is that something that these guys are always going to be ready to get out there and fight?
Well, Ray is. I mean, there's a reason why he's a champion. He's just a true warrior. But for us, is that once somebody misses weight, we look to the commission to see if they would allow that fight to happen. And once they allow it, then, obviously we talk to also the doctors, everybody, that's involved. And once they clear the fighter and the fighter wants to fight, then the opportunity is theirs.
Even with, so the -1, win or lose, is that something that is mainly just meant to deter weight misses? Or is that something that, I mean, obviously it's a deterrent, but is that something that you guys factor into the fact where you don't want someone who keeps missing weight to be successful?
Well, we want everybody to be successful, right?
Or to see themselves in the playoffs.
But at the same time, there has to be consequences to what goes on. For example, when you miss weight, you are going to lose some, -1 point. And so it's just, that's the way the format is set out. And I think it works. And so we'll just keep moving forward that way.
100%. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
In the sport, it's victories and defeats.
Right.
That's what the fans remember, the teams remember.
Right.
But hearing you speak about Pettis
Right.
and Jenna with the weight loss and missing weight, and clearly it's the fighter's character that is being developed and being grown. Can you tell us a bit about how important that is to you?
Yeah, it really is because, as a former fighter myself, and after having 110 pro fights, I truly understand what these guys go through, right? And everybody that makes it to the top or the top 10, you gotta have a bit of character. You gotta have a little bit of craziness. And of course, when you have people like Pettis and Maga and Ray and all those guys, they're guys not only with character, but at the same time, they're true warriors. You know what I mean? And so it's really important when those, as a fighter, you have all those elements because that's what allows you to continue to move forward to the championship.
All right, that's all we have time for today, guys. Sorry.
Thank you, everybody. Appreciate it.